Cool. Go on then, fire away.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, great. Well, I appreciate Becci joining me for my National Stress Awareness Day opportunity to share with everybody a new practice that's coming, which is the Calmologists are coming to town, as I'm saying, and Becci is one of the many Calmologist buddies that I get to play with. And Becci's unique because Becci works with horses, and as you can see, we are actually in Becci's element, which is out in the field. I'm not sure if you could see the horse behind the tree, but Becci does a lot of training, and you actually integrate a lot of the calm work into training your horses. So thank you, excuse me, so thank you for joining us this morning, or I guess it's afternoon for you, because what part of the world are you in, Becci?
So I'm in the UK and it's late morning.
Okay. And
yes.
I appreciate this international community because stress does not know boundaries. So whether I'm in America, I'm actually calling from Florida, and UK or wherever we are, what we've realized in coming together in this practice is how many people all over the world experience stress. So I love the fact that today is National Stress Awareness Day to talk about that. And how did you find your way to either meditation practices or even becoming a calmologist? I'd love to hear some of your story.
Yeah, so Bonnie, I got to a stage in my life where I just didn't really like it. I didn't like my life. I'd grown up, and all through my teens, I didn't really want to be alive. And then I got to my late teens, early 20s, and when I went to university, I was just tired all the time. And previously, I put it down to just doing a lot of sport, being very active. But when I went to university, I didn't do all that sport. I just lived a normal, regular life, and I was still falling asleep in all my lectures. So I went to the doctors and explained my symptoms and said this had been happening for a very long time. And they took some blood tests and they called me back and they said, oh, you've got glandular fever. And I said, well, that's great, but I've been like this for years. I haven't just got glandular fever. And anyway, there's no particular cure for that, or there's nothing they can particularly do. And I spent the next 3 years going back to be retested every 6 months to see if this glandular fever had gone away. And I tried lots of things personally. I tried sleeping lots. I tried supplements, all sorts of things. And anyway, in my third year of university, I went back for another of these regular 6-month tests. And it was a locum GP, and he just looked at me and said, well, this is pointless. You will always test positive for glandular fever because they test for the antibodies. So it's not an indication of a current illness. I'd obviously had it some point in my life, probably in my teens, and I hadn't even realized it. I just battled on through. And I was, so that was a bit of a wake-up call, really, for about how the medical profession maybe didn't have all the answers for me. At that point in time, I had a sister doing a psychology degree, and she suggested that maybe there was a mind-body connection. So I did actually talk to the GPs about that, and they sent me to a psychiatrist. And to cut a long story short, I did do some counseling type approach, but it didn't really work for me. It definitely didn't approach the sort of content that I know now and the significance of what I know now. So I ditched that, and I spent my early 20s just trying to get better, trying lots of different various approach. ME is a physical illness, so I figured it needed to have a physical solution. And it was only that I was in a job that I felt like I was in a real dead-end job, and I could do much better. That I ended up doing some career coaching. And what came out of that career coaching was that I was really passionate about healing work. I was really passionate about horses, and I was really interested in psychology. Mm-hmm. So I spent the next year training in all those things without even trying, because that's the power of coaching, is that often you end up taking action just effortlessly. And the first two came pretty quick. I trained to become a Reiki healer. I found myself on a course to do learning development work with horses, but it wasn't until I was talking to a friend and I was saying there must be something for the mind, psychology based, that if you deal with that, you'll deal with everything. Like all your problems will go away. And she's like, "Oh, funny that I've just been on a 1-day workshop with this guy called Sandy Newbegin, and he did this thing called Mind Detox, and he like solved this guy's problem in like 30 minutes." And I thought that sounds really interesting. That sounds like what I'm looking for. So I went and looked up the websites and liked it, called the number, thinking I'd get like a whole host of admin staff that answer that call, and he didn't. He answered the call, and I did that whole thing. I was like, I can't talk. Because he'd been on television, he'd written books and things like that. So I never expected to speak to the actual creator myself. We had a lovely chat, and I decided yes, that I was very interested. So I went and had a couple of sessions with him, a couple of mind detox sessions, because that was the only technique that was available back then, and loved it. Just bounced out of that first session, like completely, definitely this is what I want to do. Really, really certain. It was one of those beautiful moments. And so I went on to train to be a mind detox practitioner, and actually came to the Calmologist content late, a lot later than other people. I didn't train in mind calm and body calm when they became available. And it wasn't until I had a really difficult client, someone that needed a skill set well beyond the one that I had. And I figured I've been doing this work for about 7 years now. It's probably time to update all my training. And then the Calmologist course came along, and I was like, well, I guess I'll do that then. Here we are.
Yes. Yeah, I think we have a lot to thank for you to bring a lot of the mind detox out. And I think I have all the books here, but I'm excited. I haven't finished reading it, but his new book is out, which I know is really great. And I love this book because you get to know more of Sandy in this book. It's more of a lot of the stories. So the closeness of both of us, and of course all the Calmologists, has really been great. So I love that you were probably instrumental too in bringing a lot of that information to everyone, and we get to do a lot of training. So I know you were also instrumental in making sure that we got the online modules that we needed to be able to train. And actually I think mind detox is like you said, powerful, because as a Calmologist, I had to do a lot of case studies, and I just thought like some of the mind detox case studies that I've done with people were incredible. It just warmed my heart that I could take something that someone was dealing with and actually suffering with, and have it disappear, or not let it affect them, and detach from it in a healthy way. And so that's what each part, you mentioned a few parts of mind calm, body calm, and you didn't mention calm cure. I think that was the other one. He has a whole suite of wonderful modalities that we as Calmologists get to work with. And I love that you actually are also, you integrate it with your work. You do it with groups of people. You just recently actually worked with a medical office. I think you went and did taught some mind calm to the medical professionals, which I think is fantastic, because bedside manners is very important when we're dealing with our own stress, and to have added stress from medical professions or any professional people that we deal with can be a challenge. So what made you talk with the medical professional group? Because I heard that went really well.
Yeah, so our local doctor's surgery is quite it's quite open. It's, they have other practitioners in there. So I went and spoke to them. I had to go for, I fell off on the horses.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So I never go to the doctors, haven't been to the doctors for probably 10 or so years, because I've found other ways of like supporting my health so I don't get ill. And so I went in because I've fallen off this horse, get my knee checked out, and it's a nice, like, airy place. And I just sat in that waiting room thinking, so many people in this waiting room wouldn't need to be here if they knew body calm. And if they understood about the mind-body connection. And I'm all for empowering people. like giving them, my own health journey taught me how important it is to take responsibility for our own health, and actually not just delegate it to someone else, not just get sick and then go to someone else to get pills or something to fix the symptoms, which is often what's happening there. And I've always been like, let's get to the bottom of something. Let's be really efficient with this. So I sat in this waiting room thinking, man, they just need to know body calm. It would change their lives. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to the practice manager, and she said, oh, no, we don't really have a room, but we do these protected learning sessions where we close the surgery and everyone in the surgery gets to do sort of continuing professional development. Maybe I could get you to come along and do something for one of those sessions. And so that's what happened. She asked me, it wasn't that surgery, she moved surgeries, and so it was a new surgery, but they said, oh, maybe something on meditation would be good. And she was like, oh, I know someone that does that. So she got in touch, and I was so important to me. I completely rearranged my day so I could go. And and it was lovely, because to start with, they're very stressed people. Doctors' surgeries are busy places. You've got a lot of people that are very sick and stressed. Right. And so they're really dealing with people that are really potentially, in very bad spaces. And they've got busy time schedules and things to get done. So, we just acknowledged at the beginning of the session how stressful it is to work in that environment. Mm-hmm. And then I start to talk to them, about the body calm and mind calm sort of principles and philosophies. And you could see them like, they don't really want to give up their thinking mind. A lot of them very intelligent people. They pride themselves on their problem solving skills and being very clever. And here was someone saying, well, actually, let's learn how to put the mind down. Mm. So there was a little bit reluctance. But anyway, I taught them the gowl, the thing with the eyes where they, look straight ahead, but then see above, below, left and right, and asked them if they had any thoughts, and they begrudgingly admitted they didn't. And so that piqued their curiosity, and then from that we went on to explore one of the calm thoughts and located it in the body, and then we finished by doing 3 calm thoughts. And as you know, with body calm, the calm thoughts are very symbolic and they're very relevant to being healthy. And so I shared with them the I am secure for the soles of the feet, and one doctor just went, that's brilliant. He totally got it. And I have to say, I'm really curious to know how many sessions or how many patients they spoke to the next day and said, have you tried meditation?
Right.
as the way of helping their patients reduce their stress, because they got it. They saw that it works, and there's a good chance I'll be asked to go back and finish the training, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And I liked what you said about like going back and even asking their patients if they've meditated, because it's not in replace sometimes of course, medical needs. You need to take care of yourself. And I'm always a big advocate of, if things are not working in the body, make sure you get the right attention. But the self-healing that could come through it. I know one of the body calm philosophy is rest is best and harmony heals. And of course, if we have the harmony in our body, then the body is an amazing instrument that will take on whatever it needs to take on, just like you found when you hurt yourself, that if we just get out of our own way, our body will find the way to heal it. So that is amazing. And it's interesting, although you probably didn't do that with the team, but I know like in body calm, they talk about sometimes when certain things are happening in our specific body part, sometimes there's something going on in our life that it's so amazing, the body, that when you think of something happening, whether it's a knee or an arm or some system in the body, usually it goes back to the stress level that is happening in our lives. I know one of the particular things that we focus on as the back as an example, where sometimes we find that if people start having back pain, that they usually are not supported in their life. And then if they just put the intention into that area in the body, a lot of times they realize that that may not be the case, but that's how they're holding the particular concern in their body. So it gives us a chance to, like you say, quiet the mind to detach from whatever signals we're giving the body.
Yeah, and I love it, Bonnie, because as you were speaking, the horse did like snorted.
Okay.
And horses do that as a way of stress release, and they usually do that when someone's spoken a truth.
That's wonderful.
And yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And what happens is that the mind will always try and find evidence to prove its beliefs true. So if we believe that we're not supported, and I had a group of ladies that would come and meditate with me on a Tuesday morning, and each of them had back pain. And each of them were in a situation where, for one reason or another, they were either no longer employed because they'd been made redundant, they were too sick to work, or they retired. And all of them, their income had decreased dramatically. Mm. And so in their own mind, they had decided that they weren't financially supported anymore. Life didn't support them. Mm. And it was manifesting that conflict within them, the untruth, was manifesting as pain in their back. The only place it was true was in their mind. But if they let go of the mind and actually saw in all the ways that they were supported in other ways of their life, then they wouldn't have had the pain. The pain was literally a representation of this conflict and this unhealthy belief.
Wow, that gives me the chills. I mean, I've studied the work and I'm still amazed because of how simple it is. I mean, we say it's simple, but it's profound. How many people have that happen to them, myself included. I mean, I'm a big advocate of this because I've seen my own life. I consider myself a pretty intelligent person, but when stress takes over, intelligence goes out the door. And there was a lot that I was amazed when I started doing this work, how the mind and body connection was interwoven so bad that I was having a lot of issues. And fortunately, I got checked out and it wasn't medical issues, but stress, as we know, can still stay in the body in many ways to remind us not that we need to, but it would be a good idea if we wanted to have that peace in our life or the no suffering in our life, that we learn how to dance with that mind-body connection. So I love the fact that there's an awareness day, the stress awareness day, because sometimes it takes a simple holiday or a simple moment to stop, to realize there's other ways. And as the world gets busier, sometimes it has its good and bad things, because with technology, it could be nonstop. And it's very important, even with technology, that we could do this, to share how wonderful it is to have a beautiful life. I love that you're on this horse farm. You actually live on the farm, right? This is your home, and you wake up and you have this beautiful backyard and these beautiful horses. So it's wonderful how you've created that life out of your journey with how things started for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know from our Mindcom training that, make the most important thing to you the priority of your day. And I've made huge sacrifices to make the things that are most important to me the things that I invest most of my time in, so I'm not here by accident. It's intended. And it means that other people might look at my life and think I'm very successful in some areas, but really unsuccessful in others. But I learned long ago to just disassociate from what other people thought success was, and actually just explore my own idea of success. The only person I have to impress is me. Mm-hmm. Truly, I'm not here to impress anyone else. I'm here to do my journey, my path, follow my truth, and I'm lucky. It's worked out pretty good so far.
Yeah.
So maybe it works.
Yeah, maybe. I think that would, I mean, there's so many great things we can talk about, but I do agree. There's so many things that if you're not worrying about what other people are doing, and just, I call it tap into the magic of just being in the present moment awareness, how wonderful life is on so many levels. And I think what I know what I love about this work is I've been very blessed with a lot of things, and I'm a searcher as well, but there was something that wasn't quite feeling right for me. And it really comes down to just being in present moment awareness, because I remember among the many things that Sandy has said is right here, right now, I have everything I need. So I'm living in a life of abundance. And that's just one of the many pearls of just being self-aware and really embracing life. So everyone can have it. We're not unique.
Yeah.
And
no, not at all.
yes.
Yeah,
and what I love is we're so different. I'm on this side of the world, you're on that side of the world. Everyone has practice, and you could just be where you are. You don't have to worry about running to the mountaintop, as I always say. Do it right here, right now, in however you are. And that's what's beautiful about this work too. Everyone is so unique. There's not, the only thing is making peace a priority. Everything else doesn't matter how that looks to people.
Yeah, it's just about following your heart. Like, what does your heart really say to you? What makes you sing? What gives you purpose? What makes you alive? What makes you the best human being that you can possibly be? Because the world deserves that from you. You know, I've worked with so many clients, and I've coached so many people that just have this belief that they're not needed, they're not important, they're not necessary. And it's like, that's not true. Everyone has a unique skill or gift. Everyone has something to contribute. And the world deserves to have that from you. It deserves to experience you at your very best. So you stop doing it for yourself, and you start going on this journey to benefit everybody. You know, it might start with dealing with your own issues, and you touched upon some things there. It's like, I used to be so in my head. You know, everything was a problem. I thought the way to make life better was to criticize it more. And it was a tough journey to let go of that and embrace something different. It took a lot of courage. Having done it, I would never go back. I'm always looking for more ways that I can just let go of the ego and just simply be who I am.
Yes, I love it. I totally agree with you. And I want to just find out how can people. Actually, I did want to share one thing with letting go of the ego. One of the things that I realized is that in my own journey, I realized the ego is going to come up. And that was something that was humbling for me, because my ego came up in quite a number of situations. But you let it go, and then all of a sudden this beautiful world shows up that is incredible beyond my wanting to keep my ego. I'm like, why do I keep my ego when there's this beautiful world just waiting for me? And so I just needed to share that, because that was really an added bonus of my journey that I did not expect was going to come forth in the way it did. So
yeah, and I don't know about you, but the life that I've ended up having was nothing like what I had imagined my life would be like.
Yeah,
nothing like it, and it's so much better.
Yeah,
I couldn't have imagined the levels of deep fulfillment, gratitude, feeling alive, awake. I couldn't have imagined that. And it does seem impossible to start with, but it's not about doing something to get there. It's about actually letting go of things to get there.
Yes.
And just being you.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I'm just starting my journey as a Calmologist, so I'm already seeing things that have been coming to me, and it's actually even more exciting because there's a journey that is calling me. I see or hear or see the calling, and now it's just a matter of letting go and however it develops, which is beautiful, because it's going to develop just like you're out there enjoying your life. It's going to develop in a way that I know I can never imagine. Yeah. So I wanted to have people find out how they can get in touch with you, because I know you have a website, and I know you do this amazing things with the horse community as well as with people. So if people wanted to get in touch with you or find out about some of the work you do, how would they do that?
So my website is www.beccigodfrey.com. Becci spelled Becci. And that's for all my sort of therapy and coaching work. And then I've got also a website for the work that I do with the horses, where, there's a big crossover where I bring things like mind calm and mindful sort of awareness into the work with them. And the website for that is www.horsesenseuk.com. And that's probably the two best places to find me.
Yes. And I know you traveled to the States last year, so if anyone wants to reach you or for this incredible work that you do, I don't know how these communities start, but I know in Florida there's tons of horse communities. So who knows, maybe I will get to meet you one day personally, where someone who's watching this needs to do work around some of the many horse farms that are out here. Maybe you'll come and visit Florida and we'll get to embrace.
Who knows? Who knows? I belong to a global organization and we have conferences all around the world. And my coach for the horsework is in America. So when I was out there in Ohio, as I was leaving, she said, "You'll be back." And I was like, "Horse, a long way to come back." But you know what? She's probably right.
Right. Yes, the world keeps getting smaller and smaller. So I really want to thank you for the time that we got to share today. I think you're incredible and you've inspired me in many ways on my journey. And I know just from people listening to this chat that you will be inspiring a lot more people beyond what you ever thought you would be doing. And it'll be great. We won't know the ripple effect, and yet it doesn't matter. We're just here to share our piece of the beautiful world that we get to live in and enjoy each day. So thank you so much, Becci.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay.